So to start off with why sales, I think it all comes back to whenever I was a kid. My dad owned a small nutrition store, and I loved being in his store, working, helping him, working face to face with customers. I think that these interactions are really what kind of set in stone that I like to be working around people, and I like to be involved with the customer as much as possible. So whenever I decided that I was coming to OU, I knew I wanted to do business, but I wasn't really sure where I fit in within business. And so I just started kind of taking my classes and having an open mind to everything. And that's where I heard about the Schey. And once I joined the Schey, I still really wasn't sold on sales, but I did understand the value of a sales skill set. So I ended up doing a marketing internship after my freshman year. And I quickly realized that I did not want to work by myself. I did a lot of stuff on a computer by myself, not helping or not working with customers at all. And I really didn't like that. So that's when I kind of realized that sales was my place because I wanted to be working with people throughout my entire day. So going into my sophomore year, I knew I wanted to get a sales internship, which I did. And during that summer, I worked at Gartner doing sales, and I absolutely loved it. I was on the phones, I was working with my team, I was doing a lot of work with others, and that's what really motivated me. That's what kept me excited and coming back with a lot of energy. And so I quickly realized that sales was my place, and I'm going to continue following that path. Some of the specific things that I really like about sales is the competitiveness within the work. I think that's very exciting. I think that's very motivating to be able to compete against others to see where you can end up. I also love that you have a huge impact on your income. I've always been somebody who's going to work as hard as I can, and I love that I can be rewarded for the hard work that I put in, and I'm not just being paid for how many hours I'm in my seat. Finally, I truly love the culture that salespeople kind of create. Going onto the sales floor is quite honestly, it feels a lot like walking into the Schey office. There's just so much energy, so much motivation. Everybody is just going for it, and everybody wants to do big things, and that's kind of the culture that I'm after, and those are the types of people I want to be around throughout my career. So why Schey? So I joined Schey my freshman year, and I really joined for the professional development and the brand that the Schey had, and I had no idea about a lot of the things that really came with the program. But I quickly became surrounded by incredible people. I remember specifically Jen Vance and Michael Buckles, and learning from people like them and getting involved with the other student leaders that were on CAC at the time was so good for me because they were all doing great things. They were all willing to help me get to where I wanted to be, and they were all pushing me at all times. There was so much energy in the room whenever I first walked in, and I continued to go because of that energy. So I always feel like everybody around me is making me better, and that's one of the biggest things about the Schey. But I've also been able to have access to a ton of resources that I never would have seen if I hadn't joined the program. So this comes in to play with the 3 internships that I've had. I've been on 3 different trips to cities I never would have been to if I didn't have the opportunity throughout the program. I've had 3 different leadership positions, so I'm developing skills that are marketable for full-time jobs that I never would have been able to do without the Schey. I wouldn't have been able to have real-world leadership experience while I'm in college without this program. And then finally, the scholarships. So this right here, this is a huge help to me financially. This is what allows me to come back and spend my time at Ohio University, and I really appreciate that. And then the last thing that I want to touch on is the people. Everybody around me, I've mentioned it before, is just so energetic, so willing to help, so willing to push each other, and I just love that. And I think that is one of the best parts about the Schey is our people and our culture. So what impacts have I made? So whenever I was director of onboarding, I was able to induct 220 new members into the program, which I think made a huge impact on those students. And then I moved into the VP of people role where I didn't have that direct impact necessarily anymore, but I was able to develop leaders from a higher level. And 3 of the 4 people that worked under me continue to serve on leadership this semester. And then finally, my co-chair position, I think that I'm really able to help create a lot of opportunities for younger students to develop themselves, as well as open up new ideas that can push the Schey forward in the future. And then finally, how I've had an impact at the university level is I've used a lot of my sales skills and the things that I've learned in the Schey to help other student organizations, especially within student ambassadors, where I'm able to have an impact on prospective students and ultimately drive more interest within the college. And I think that that's a big impact that I've had. Outside of that, I think that the leadership roles I've had in the Schey are a huge part too, because I've been able to impact so many people, not just in the College of Business. Thank you.